I guess it's the little things, and more than anything else, you probably find out in golf that it is the little things that count. It's where you place that front foot, and it's where that grass is behind the ball, and where everything is so important. I guess it's even you can even take it to the point of you're the president or CEO of this president of the company right now, and the whole idea of that there's a respect for the position that you have to hold, you have to have, and so without getting into a lot of little things, I mean the suit is important because of the position. You probably prefer to be wearing shorts and a golf shirt, but that doesn't show respect for the position. I remember my son when he was about 19, 20, talking to Dave Newell, who was supervisor of officials with the NHL. And Dave told him that when he was scouting people, he said he would watch the warm-up, watch how the person stood, see how he was dressed, and look at his skates. And he said if he saw the little ring marks on his white laces, he left the building. He said if you didn't pay attention to the condition of your skates, you didn't have enough respect for the position to warrant moving on as a professional.
It's a great point. I mean, I think what you've got to do is create a culture, and that culture's got to be a shared belief and goal amongst your staff, and it's my job to make sure that culture is accepted and agreed upon, certainly with a ton of feedback. I mean, I'm not all-knowing. I don't do their jobs on a regular basis. I have a pretty good understanding of it. I grew up in the business, but I think it's an image and a culture, and the image for us is professionalism, right? I mean, that's why PGA Tour players wear pants. Why don't they wear shorts? It just doesn't look as professional, and that's part of the history of the game. So, we wear shirts and ties. I give them a break in the summer with golf shirts, but if you come in here in September, every salesperson, anybody on this side of the building will be in a suit and tie. And I think it just makes you feel a little bit more professional and makes you conduct yourself in that manner, and ultimately that's what our customers expect from us. I think when you try to set yourself apart and you claim that you are that, then the responsibility is to live up to that. And on the golf course, I've tried to conduct myself over the years where, if I win or lose the Invitational, if I'm at all in the public eye, then I know that people are watching. And I think anybody who knows me realizes I'm ultra competitive, but I do my best to try to contain that, and sometimes you slip. But that's where I think some of the guys, and particular Tiger's, probably not done justice to the game of golf, because it's not cool to lose your temper in public like that. And for a guy who's trying to rebuild his image, I don't think he's been doing a great job of it. I think when you look at the true stalwarts of the game, like a Watson or a Nicklaus or Gary Player, and many just like him, they've probably been a better example of what golf is, and that's really what we like what our children to see. I don't want to bring my 8-year-old to a match where a guy's dropping F-bombs and swiping divots from the tee. So I'd like to see that change in golf, and like to one thing I think golf has done very well is preserve the history of the game. We are a sport that really pays attention and pays homage to the history of the game, and there's been very little change over the years. And I think there's just so many great parallels to take with you in life. It doesn't have to be the business world. It can be your personal life.
Do you think that creating this culture of I don't even know if it's safe to say a junior golf culture, but a culture of introducing the game of golf to young people, not necessarily just for the sport, but for all the principles and values that they can take from it, that if we started to create that culture among adults and among parents, that we might see more young people coming in. Because I think you made a good point about creating a culture, and I think if you take a look at any golf club, if junior golf is going to have a high priority in the golf club, everybody has to kind of accept it, and they all have to take responsibility for helping these kids learn.
The culture at our particular club at the Ottawa Suburbs is as healthy as it's ever been. Paul Schweier, our pro, has done a great job reintroducing the junior program, and and parents are really excited about it. They bought in. I think every junior clinic they've had, I mean, my son's been in a few of them, is extremely well attended. And what they do well is introduce the children to the fun part of the game, and they try to teach some of the fundamentals, but they're also teaching the etiquette. And then inherently children realize and understand there's rules. So there are rules in the house, and that's the things they don't like, right? You can't play with your video games all day, and you can't eat snacks all day. And so that's redundant stuff that mom and dad, kind of scream at you throughout the day. But when you go to the golf course and the pro says to you, and so you don't run on the practice road, you walk, and when somebody else is hitting, you stop talking. And all the little things that I think make golf a gentleman's game. And that, for a junior, for a young individual to have that kind of tutelage and guidance from somebody else other than your parents in an environment where everybody else around the green is going, yeah, that's right, that's what you do. And I know, once again, to reference Carl Vanstone, I never got a lesson from Carl Vanstone in my life, but I thought he was one of the best pros that any junior could grow up with because I feared him. He was strict, but he made sure that we believed in and followed and adhered to the rules of golf and the etiquette of golf. And that's, I can say what I want from behind the bench in the hockey rink. It might even be my job to do so. I might be an instigator and the guy that's tasked with doing that on the bench. It's actually a role in the game of hockey. That role doesn't exist in golf. And we would frown upon that greatly. So, I have ultimate respect for the game. I know I'm just a speck of sand on the beach in relation to golf and the history of it, but I sure do enjoy being part of it up here in Northern Ontario. And I won my Masters this year, so to speak.
But you're not finished.
Hopefully not finished. I'm fortunate enough to have a wife who understands me and realizes that we are who we are. And as much as I'm successful in the business world, and we've got 3 children and want to do all that, part of me still needs to commit time to golf, and I still need to be successful. And I don't. I'm not going to not see my children for 5 nights a week to do it, but it holds a place in my life, and I try to manage that as best I can and make sure I'm using. I probably practice more efficiently now, and I prepare myself mentally away from the game and away from the golf course really well. And I think I've conditioned myself to peak at the right time, so I don't need to be out 2 weeks ahead of it. I understand how I get up to speed, and I do it pretty well for the big events, and don't play a lot of them, but certainly want to continue to be a factor in the ones that I do play.
But to the general public, to the golfing public, they still identify you as a golfer.
Yeah, it's strange.
And I guess when you take a look at the business end of it, the relationships and the networking will bring people here specifically because you're one of them. You're a golfer, and I really do think that it is one of those strange aspects of the game of golf that even if you don't play golf for 5 or 6 years, you still call yourself a golfer.
Yeah.
It's
a lifelong association.
Twice a year. I golf.
Yeah.
I golf 3 times in a year, but I golf.
Yeah.
And
but you may watch every golf tournament on the
weekend.
Right. You might be in your backyard with your clubs out like my dad is every afternoon, trying to fix a swing and understand what he's doing. So
you never leave the game, and it's so as kind of in conclusion, what do you think we have to do then, or what are some of your plans possibly to give back to the game and get more people into the
I think what we have to do is probably what we talked about earlier. We've got to find a way as a community to create access to the game. That's got to be focused at the underprivileged individuals, or there could be a young child out there living in the Bronx or the south side of Chicago that might be the most talented golfer in the history of the world. But if we don't get the club in his hands and we don't somehow create access to do so, then we're never going to find out how good can be. So to truly become a global game, I think we've got to bridge that gap, and you're never going to fully do it. But it sure would be nice to see a lot more children have the opportunity to do so. I'd like to see Canada come out with some kind of national program. I know a lot of the great amateurs I played against growing up that went on to be tour pros and PGA Tour champions. Their country sponsored them. So So they almost in the summertime became sponsored by New Zealand or Australia, 2 great programs. Sweden's got a great one now, Finland's got one, Korea's got a phenomenal one. You see all the Korean golfers starting to pop up all over. But they've been doing that for 10 to 15 to 20 years, and now it's starting to pay dividends. And,
so even though you're seeing them compete at a high level, the impact it's had on the entire population is huge.
It's immeasurable.
Those people, the younger people, have been introduced to the game.
Yeah, it's immeasurable, because you're never going to get back and realize that 20 years ago when they started that program in Korea, how many children were positively affected by the game of golf and what that's done for them in their personal lives and what they then took off into their careers.
Right.
And you're going to see the ones that make the PGA Tour. They could be the most dysfunctional individuals of anybody that came out of that program, but you'd never know because we only place value on what we see. But Canada needs that, and we're starting to get more of it. We've produced Matt Hill and some pretty outstanding amateurs that have been ranked 1 or 2 in the world over the last couple of years, and I think we'll continue to do so. But the grassroots program has to continue. I know the RCGA is working hard on that. I'd like to be a part of that, I guess, in the future in some way, shape, or form. Locally, I think, as my son progresses and maybe my daughters that get into the game, and I've introduced it to all of them, as they become more involved, I'll likely become more involved and probably put my own aspirations, my own schedule aside for theirs.
That's the way it works.
That's the way it works, and a lot of my friends are in that position right now, so they're kind of in the twilight of their careers, or maybe a holding pattern, and when the kids go to college, they'll get back into it, which is why you see a lot of guys really get excited about senior golf and get competitive with it. For me, I like to see the Idlewild healthy. I like to see the junior program the way it's going right now, and I'll certainly be supporting that Callaway program for clubs for kids. And we'll see how many golf clubs we can get out there into the hands of those that probably wouldn't get it otherwise, and just to educate. I mean, listen, if we went into a school and talked about the benefits of golf, and that individual didn't play golf for the next 5 years, but we're somewhat impacted by that speech and by meeting me or anybody who's done something in the game, and we can add some value to it, then I certainly think we've done some good.
Yeah, as long as it touched. That's great. Yeah. But nice talking to you, Vince. A lot of good ideas. Business 101, I think. Life 101. Yep. A lot of good things to learn from golf.
Thanks
for the time. Thanks for the time, yeah. And I'm still a 40 handicap.
Yeah, well,
good luck on number 7 next year.
Thanks very much. Yeah, I'll be chasing it. It'll be, I don't know where it'll all stop, but...
And we will get back together to talk about the Callaway program, because I think it's got a lot of potential. Just to introduce, especially during the wintertime.
Yeah. It's great that the GAO is behind it right now. I mean, it's the Golf Association of Ontario and all the provincial associations are doing their own thing. They need that support, right? Because there's actually funds in those organizations, and they can push that through, and they're equipped to do that. They're equipped to send their van across the country in the winter seasons and educate children when they're not managing tournaments. It's become a big organization, as the RCGA has always been. But golf's kind of, I think we've morphed from that it's only for the rich and affluent. I think everybody realizes now that it's a global game, and we gotta get out there and push it into the hands of those that aren't going to see it, because it just teaches too many good lessons.
I was going to say, it's almost like we might be able to solve an awful lot of quality of life issues in the community by getting more people on the golf course to learn those principles and values that are part of the game.
Tremendous amount of children could benefit from it. In closing, I think Tiger's gone through a lot of scrutiny over the last little while, but I think the long term, his impact on the game might be more positive from that first tee program than what he's ever done on the other side of the game. Because I'll tell you, that is really gained momentum in the U.S., and they are in some areas that children would never pick up a golf club or even think of doing so. As I said before, I think we have the best game in the world, and I think it teaches the best fundamentals to listen, whether you're an 8-year-old, 16-year-old, 24-year-old, or 42-year-old, or 82-year-old like my father. He's still out there trying to learn and get better. So many great parallels to life, and it is a game for life, and we need to push it. We need to get it out there.
Great.
Good.
Thanks a lot for the time.
Thanks, man.
Take care.